So today we have Blaine Bertsch of Dryrun with us today. How are you, Blaine? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing terrific. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. So please, first tell us the story of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so Dryrun's a cash flow management tool software, and I really come to it from a history of suffering in my last business with cash flow and realizing how big of an issue it was. So
Hmm.
around the time of the recession, we got hit obviously like so many other businesses at the time, and I had to figure out how to work my way through and build that business back up, and it worked. So I became a real believer in cash flow management and forecasting. And so that's really how I got to where we are today.
Okay, so from personal experience and turned business and obviously historical experience as well, like you said, with the recession. And
Yeah.
and so who exactly do you serve? Who do you help using Dryrun?
Well, we have a combination of business managers, like management staff, business owners that manage their cash flow through Dryrun. We also have a large contingent of CPAs that are using Dryrun to advise their clients, and that's something we're seeing more and more of, especially right now with the volatility. It's difficult for business owners to stay on top of things when they're
Mhm.
understaffed and have so
Right.
little time. They're relying more and more on their CPAs to keep an eye on things for them.
Hmm. And so I'm sure you deal with probably some stressed out clients dealing with money and everything. Do you notice amongst your peers as far as, managing those emotions and energy management, like you said, trying to handle so many different things, especially if you're in a situation where you're understaffed, so you're taking on a lot of it.
Yeah, and it's a really difficult time, especially for business
Hmm.
owners right now, and it's hard to say if they're more stressed when, like right now, when they're overworked and understaffed, or when sometimes they're shut down and they have to be shut down
Right.
for a while.
Hmm.
So it's an incredibly challenging time for business owners, and what I'm seeing where they're seeing some relief is when they're relying on each other and they're
Hmm.
talking to each other and being able to talk with someone that can actually, excuse me, relate to their situation. Where
Right.
if you're not in business, sometimes it's hard to relate to somebody that's struggling through
Hmm.
something like that.
Hmm. And so you can basically relate with them. I'm sure they feel, that trust and feel like, okay, someone else knows what I'm going through.
Exactly, and even a lot of my friends, of course, are so many of
Hmm.
them are entrepreneurs, and we're often doing the same thing. We're on the Zoom, the Friday night Zoom beer or happy hours
Okay.
and things like that
Hmm.
to be able to sit down and talk with each other about the struggles and it's just it helps you calm me down a little bit because you're not alone in the struggle and you get some good advice as well. So it's a really topical. It's important anytime, but it's very topical right now.
Yes, absolutely. And so for you personally, how do you manage and balance, work and your personal life?
Well, I try and be very strict about time. That's one of the things that I've instituted really in my last business, and I've tried to keep it up. Is setting some barriers because
Mhm.
you can't work 24 hours a day, and
Right.
so I start my day and I have an end on my day, and I try and stay fairly disciplined in ending the day, stopping the day, and not spending time in the evenings working on business. That way during the day you have more energy, you get more done because you're productive,
Mm-hmm.
and you also know, like, I got to get it done by end of day. And
Mm-hmm.
so by the time after like basically in the evening, I do my best to shut it off, and I try to do the same on weekends as well, to shut it off, keep separation from the business, and that's the first step, I think, in maintaining some sanity right now.
Yes, absolutely. And what are do you have any go-tos as far as obviously you have the boundaries, but anything that when you're not working, just for your free time, this is Blaine time. What are the things that you like to
Yeah,
do for that?
it's funny because if you're working, like if you're a workaholic right now, when you
Mm-hmm.
stop, it's really hard to stop. And when you do
Mm-hmm.
stop, you don't even know where to start. And
Right.
so for the first while, it's like, I don't know what to do with my time. Like, I'm forcing myself to stop, but I can't, figure out how to fill
Right.
it. But gradually what happens is you start to fill that time in with things. Otherwise you
Mm-hmm.
just sit there. So, so I do a lot of reading. I do, we like to get exercise. So
Okay.
we bike a lot. It's a little bit tricky up in Canada in the winter, and we're kind of stuck here for the winter with
Right.
being locked inside. So that makes it tricky. So we've got exercise bikes, and it's important to keep that exercise up. And then just, some hobbies. I know for me, if I'm a designer by trade, I like to
Okay.
build things. I like to be making things. And it's really important because it takes me out of the kind of major critical thinking and gets me into just more of a calming, repetitive task, and that kind of keeps me a little bit more sane. So that's it's really important, I think, to have diversions and do something with your time, not just sort of sit in front of a screen
Right.
all day.
Hi. Right. So
Yeah.
as far as the building and designing, have you decided to keep that as just, like you said, doing something in your free time rather tying any sort of business aspect to it? Is that something like, yes, I am really good
Yeah.
at this, but this needs to stay just my leisure time activity?
Yeah. And I know for me, like when I start, building stuff, the first thing my head goes to is, I got to get a website up, and I got to,
Right.
and it
That's what
turns
I'm
into a
thinking. Right.
business right away.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a little while to go, no, I actually have to like not do that. I have to
Right.
stop myself from this massive compulsion to turn it into an entrepreneurial activity. And so I've sort of purposely, now I'm just very disciplined about, it's my time, it's my thing. It doesn't have to have an outcome. I don't need to sell it. I don't, it's a
Right.
very conscious decision to keep it as a relaxation activity, and very much away from sort of business, I suppose. So
Right. I think that's definitely a new one that I've heard. And I just think it's so accurate. So you say when you have the entrepreneurial spirit, you're like, hey, anything I'm good at, I can put money, a dollar sign to it. I can sell it and everything. It's like, no,
yeah.
certain things have to just stay the leisure time activity.
Yeah. Yeah. Because otherwise, all of a sudden you have 2, 3 businesses, and
Right.
that's obviously opposite of the point. So it's tricky. I know it's tricky for entrepreneurs to separate that. And as soon as you see opportunity, you want to jump on it.
Right.
You just have to stay away from it, and
Mm-hmm.
recognize that it's important to, like I said, to be able to have the energy and the productivity and everything during the day. That's what it's about. It's about making my days much more productive.
Absolutely. And so I'm curious, of all the people you help and what you can think of from the top of your head, what is one of your favorite client success stories?
Favorite client success stories. Well, we hear them quite often, but I will tell
Mhm.
you, we're sort of, middle of COVID right now.
Mhm.
And last week we had 2 different customers come to us and tell us that the reason they're alive today is because of us. The
Mhm.
reason they've got this far through this massive, awful business environment was because of Dryrun. And
Mhm.
that lifts you up, because we're fighting every day, and we're like battling through and helping as many businesses as we can. And to hear that directly from some clients, just gives you a lot of gratification that, yeah, we're
Mhm.
doing something worthwhile here. We are helping people, and that helps give the team energy, and helps lift everybody and kind of keep grinding along. Because we also hear enough stories of businesses that have failed or are failing.
Right.
um, it's nice to have that the positive side, and some positive stories.
Right. And so what you do, I'm assuming you apply it to your own lives and then the rest of your employees as well. Just seeing that it's kind of cool. It's your business, but it's something that helps all of you in your personal lives as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've even instituted what's called an L10 meeting from sort of the
Okay.
EOS system. And part of that system for running our Monday meetings and our meetings throughout the week is some of like having those success stories and those highlights worked into those
Hmm.
meetings, so that it's not just chatter on Slack or little conversations here or there. It's actually shared with the team every Monday morning, and throughout the week. It becomes a bit of a habit as well, which is really important.
Right. And I feel like it's also just a habit that can, like you say, fuel that energy. Sometimes when you get tired and you're crunching numbers all day, it's like, no, now we're able to talk about it and see this is working, this is helping people. So let's keep going.
Yeah, exactly. It does. It gives the entire team a lift, and we usually do have good news always shared on our Slack channel as
Okay.
well, which is kind of nice, and
Hmm.
those little success stories, it does help. It helps a lot, especially during a time where everything is so unknown and so
Hmm.
volatile. I think you have to double down on the things that are really good for your team and good for yourself, so that you can carry on and help more and more businesses.
Right. So like you said, with so much uncertainty, you're kind of one of the few businesses who can offer some certainty for people and for their businesses.
Yeah. And, and sometimes the certainty we offer, it isn't necessarily good news, but we
Hmm.
help them understand where they're headed, help them plan for it. And a lot of times we can help them lower the risk and avoid a possible, cash crunch or a shortfall.
Right.
But at times we know it's also helped businesses say, okay, we've got to
Make an adjustment.
cut the cord now because it's
Hmm.
actually going to be worse and worse for us and cost us
Hmm.
more and more. So unfortunately, the odd time we've helped them make a hard decision, but it
Hmm.
was better than the alternative. So
So I'm curious, as far as your team goes, is there someone who's like special at making, like giving the bad news when it happens, or all of you take turns? How does that work exactly?
well, we hear it more from the clients. They use our tool, they see what's going on, they might
Okay.
interact with us and say, here's where we're going, and they just sort of tell us about it. So we don't have to sort of deliver the bad news. Usually
Okay.
it's sort of like we hear it, and it's different because that's not the norm. This is sort of our COVID experience, is that
Hmm.
mostly you're getting positive stories, and during this COVID experience you get some that are a little bit harder stories.
Hmm.
And so you have to keep that energy up for the team and keep them positive, because you do get those harder stories can sometimes, if you're not careful, it can sort of drag the team down. But we know we're doing the right thing and we're helping businesses, and sometimes, like, it's not maybe the decision they'd want to make, but they're still grateful that they understand what they need to
Right.
do.
Right. And like you said, be proactive. And that way you can make the decisions now and not something that's going to hurt a lot more later to the business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so, given COVID, given the uncertainty still moving forward, what is your vision for Dry Run within the next even year and next couple of years?
Well, we're really focused on growing and helping more and more businesses, and
Mhm.
especially, like I mentioned, we're helping a lot of CPAs advise their clients, and that's shifted a little bit, and we know there's a really big opportunity to help more businesses through our CPA partners. So we've been spending a lot of time with them. We're getting a lot of activity, so that's a little bit counter to
Good.
some businesses in COVID. We're really looking to be able to grow and to expand our team, and be one of the leaders that help guide businesses out of this slowdown.
Okay. So, for those listening that are interested in working with you, working with Dry Run, what's the best way to get connected and to learn more about your business?
Yeah, just come hit us up at dryrun.com, and you can email us from there, book an appointment to actually chat with one of our team and figure out
Mhm.
if we might be something that can help your business as well.
Okay, and for you, you're on LinkedIn. What platforms are good just for those who want to talk with you? I mean, now I've been able to talk to you twice, and I've enjoyed it. So I'm sure there's other people who want to get connected.
Absolutely, definitely look me up on LinkedIn, connect with me, and I'm always love chatting with business owners and helping them along as well.
Wonderful. Well, Blaine Bertsch of Dry Run, thank you so much for your time today and just for all of that knowledge shared. Thank you.
Thank you.